10 to 11. It's time for Wolo Friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Wolo. Look up on the wall. There on the wall. Under the bottle. Behind the door. There's a crack in the mirror. Somewhere there's a hole in the way. I tell you they not to wait. Tell me they not to wait.
Welcome in on a fabulous Friday. We are watching Oakmont take players to task. That's why I love the U.S. Open. It is like watching regular guys like me play on a regular basis. And a lot of fun, for sure. Scotty Scheffler was just moments ago. He's on the cut line. He is 5 over. He's already hit a 15-footer to make par. He hits like an 18-footer now to make birdie. 4 over for the tournament. Yesterday, first round alone, J.J. Spawn was the story. Here's an older guy, been on the tour a long time, has 4 top 10s this year. Bogey-free 66, had a 31 on his first 9. That's pretty impressive stuff on a course that was not yielding. The other big moment was Patrick Reed. You don't see this very often. A double eagle, or you can call it an albatross. On a par 5, he got a 2. He couldn't tell that it was in. He struck the ball, heard this huge crowd. He asked the guy that had the boom make behind him, because, you know, he's got earphones that are connecting him to the television broadcast, and he found out it was in. And then he goes, 2? And yes, so he had a big smile, but he had a tough day. McIlroy, 2 under at the turn, 6 over on the back. Scotty Scheffler just now did not like something he did. He's flirting with the cut here. That is for sure. Here's how tough it was yesterday. Only 2 holes. Excuse me, I should have hit that button. Only 2 holes. A par 5 and a 327-yard par 4 that was pretty benign yesterday, the way they played it, were holes that were under par. The par 5 was, I believe, 4.91, and the par 4, that's 327, number 17, that was 3.93. So those are the only 2 holes that played under par. I want to say there was only like 6 or 7 under par, 13, so another 6 that were level par. Everybody else yesterday was over par. The afternoon people got lucky. They were 1 stroke better on average. Koepka has emerged, or he did yesterday. He was 2 under. He got to 3 under today. I'll double check where he is right now. And they're saying that yesterday is going to be the easiest day. And I love this story for sure. It is the story of a guy named James Nichols. Do you know who he is?
A name does not ring a bell.
Okay. It rang no bell with me, so I had to look it up. 28-year-old kid, okay? He is a graduate and a 4-year golfer at Yale. He played football his first year at Yale. He was a dual sport guy. Then I don't think he's really been very successful on the tour at all. And now yesterday shoots a 69, so he's 1 under. Here's the other aspect that's really cool. Obviously, he's a smart guy, went to Yale, right? And he's a dual sport guy. He's played some football. His father and his grandfather were could still be orthopedic surgeons for the New York Jets, the New York Knicks, the New York Islanders, and the New York Rangers. What a story.
Quite a connection.
I mean, that's, to me, that is absolutely incredible. So here's where we stand at the moment. JJ Spawn, still 4 under, still leads the tournament. He does not tee off until almost noon today. And then you've got this this guy who's 211 in the world, Tristan Lawrence. That's the thing about this. This guy won't be here. He's from Kempton Park, and is that South Africa?
They said that on the morning show he was.
Okay, I was thinking he was from South Africa, although those usually say RSA, but they didn't. Anyway, he's 3 under. He doesn't tee off till 120. Sam Burns, 4 under today. So he's 2 under for the tournament, and he's 2/3 of the way through 12 hole. Siwoo Kim, he's the South Korean, born there. I think he grew up most of the way in either Australia or New Zealand. Skinny, wiry guy, one of the long hitters on tour. That's why he's in position. He's 2 under. He doesn't tee off until 12:36. Couple of Swiss guys, Neergaard Peterson and Højgaard. They are at 1 under. So is Daniel Berger. He's 3 under today. So this morning, there are benign conditions because Hovland was 4 under for a while. He just double bogeyed the hole. Berger's at 1 under. So is Victor Hovland, who just a moment ago was 3 under. He's now 1 under after the double bogey that he suffered on his 11th hole, which I think he started on the back. So that would be the second hole. He just doubled. Dietrich, Griffin, who's been on a tear, they're both at 1 under. They both tee off later in the day. Koepka is 2 over today, even par. He was talking big yesterday. He was talking like he was back in the mix. I kind of hope he makes it. He's the guy. And then Scheffler is sitting at 4 over. McIlroy, I believe, was 4 over yesterday. I'm not sure where he is at the moment. Xander Schauffele, 2 over, tees off at 2. So does at 12:14. Oberg at 12:03. They're all 2 over. Gary Woodland was 3 over yesterday. He tees off later. So does DeChambeau at 12:14. He's 3 over. So is Keegan Bradley. Harris English is at 3 over. They will tee off a little bit later in the day. And Scotty Scheffler tied for 45th now, 1 over for the day. So he was on the cut line at 5 over because I think that's where it may be. We'll see because that was 69. Going to be interesting to watch. We'll keep our eye on that all day long because we've got Andy Schiffman. We're going to talk NBA Finals. Game 4 is tonight with the Pacers up 2-1, and this is in Indy, and you know what strategically how important that is if you want to even it up. We'll talk about the Stanley Cup Finals in a minute. But we will talk with Andy Schiffman about that, and then we will end our day, as we always do, with Jason Munz. And he's going to be out, speaking of golf, he's going to be out at TPC Southwind. They've got a press conference that actually started 11 minutes ago. And in this press conference, they are going to talk about the new things that they've done. If you don't know, they closed Southwind around Christmas, and their members are paying the price because they got to go play other places. I've seen those members at a lot of different golf courses in the last few months, but they've definitely redone the entire green complexes. I think some tee boxes, but Munzy's going to be out there. We'll get the update on that with him at the end of the show, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Felipe Patino leaving, the Utah State on the schedule. Still, there's 4 left. A lot of people are thinking 2 bye games, 2 big games. Maybe Munzy can share some light on that, and Danger and other bigs. We'll get into that as we go along. I don't know. Did you see Elijah Seegers? The Stanley Cup playoff game last night.
I did not watch it in totality. I saw highlights, though.
Oh, my gosh. I love the Stanley Cups. I really do. There's nothing like NHL playoff hockey. Look, even Taylor Swift and Kelsey were there last night. I mean, what a game they've seen. So let me just tell you a little bit about this series. This series is amazing. The two teams played last year. The Panthers were up 3-0 in the series, and Edmonton somehow came back to tie it 3-3, and the Panthers won it in Game 7. This series was 1-1. Edmonton wins the first game in overtime. 3 of the 4 games have now gone to overtime. The Panthers outplay Edmonton in the second game, steal home ice advantage. They win Game 2. Game 3 is the only game that doesn't go overtime, and the Oilers just lost their mind. They had like 21 penalties. All these power play goals, 6-1 was your final, all Panthers. It looks like, the Panthers are just better. And I do think if we match these teams up, maybe they're a little bit better. Although, when they have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl that are out there, Draisaitl, I love watching those two guys work. That's a little like Kane and Taves in the Blackhawks era of superiority. But I think all told, Florida may be a better team. So they go ahead 3-0 in the first period of this game last night. 3-0. You think, oh man, it's it. Its series is over. It's going to go 3-1. So they got a guy who's 40 years old in their locker room who's played 20 years in the NHL. I don't know what he said to them at intermission, but at the end of the second period, we've got a tie 3-3. Edmonton goes ahead 4-3 late with 15 seconds left to go in regulation with a pulled goalie. Here come the Panthers, a beautiful goal. You can't blame, by the way, they changed goalies. You can't blame Picard, who's the goalie for Edmonton, replacing a guy named Skinner. You can't blame him. Great play, tied 4-4. You figure, okay, that's it. They blew it. They had it. This thing was going to be tied 2-2. They go into overtime, and middle of overtime, Draisaitl, I think is how you pronounce it. Leon comes up with the game. This is an amazing story. Leon Draisaitl has had 11 goals in the playoffs. Of those 11 goals, 4 of them have come in overtime. 4 overtime goals in one playoffs, that is an NHL record. The NHL has been around for 150 years. No one's ever done that before. That is, plus which, in the regular season, he had 6 game winners too.
I call this guy Captain Clutch.
He is absolutely Captain Clutch. So they win, and they're the first team in the history of the NHL Finals to be down 3 goals and come back and win the game. So now it's 2-2. I'm not saying who the favorite is because I can't tell you who it is. But Edmonton has regained home ice advantage. What does that mean? I don't know, because both teams have won on the road. It's a crazy series. But if you like drama, and I got a feeling we're going to see that tonight. I don't understand why. Maybe, Elijah, you study this stuff as much as I do. Why do you think OKC in Indy, having lost 2 games in a row, really getting dominated in the second and fourth quarter in Game 3, why are they 5.5-point favorites tonight?
Well, I think throughout the playoffs, in games wherever they play after a loss, OKC has a margin of victory. I think it's like plus 17 or 18. They win games by an average of 17
that ain't happening.
Or 18 points.
I can tell you right now, I'd bet you whatever you want to bet that they're not going to win by double digits tonight.
I don't know. I don't know what to expect tonight. That number does seem high, especially after Indiana playing as well as they did in Game 3. But I do expect the energy level to be up for OKC. I expect SGA to have a monster performance tonight, and he has to if they want to come back and even the series.
Yeah, he was held to 24 last week. That's like he's averaging 30+. So held to 24, and he looked fatigued at the end. I'll tell you who really looked fatigued in my mind was Holmgren. He played really well in the first 3 quarters, and he didn't have it in the fourth. He had a couple shots blocked. He was missing threes. I want to say Holmgren was 0 for 6 in Game 3. Here's the thing that would give you hope, and you see why the line is 5.5. In Game 3s, throughout the playoffs, the OKC Thunder only won 1 game. Only won 1 Game 3. That was against
The Memphis Grizzlies.
The Memphis Grizzlies. And you remember what happened in that game?
John Morant went down.
They were down by 30 and came back and won that game because John Morant got hurt. I contend to you that if Morant doesn't get hurt, that's completely different.
I agree.
So, anyway, that part is right. But I think if I were betting this game tonight, because everybody wants to talk about how great OKC was in the regular season, everything else, I think I would take 5.5.
I'd feel a lot more confident if it was in Oklahoma City and not Indiana.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not. And they've already stolen home court. And this is the pivotal game. Right now, if they win this game tonight, then they got to come back from 3-1. And now they would get 2 games in OKC, but they got to win 1 game in Indy. So this is the game for sure that is the pivotal game. Cannot wait for all of that. College World Series starts today. Arizona and Coastal Carolina, Louisville and Oregon State. That's one side. I guess the LSU-Arkansas game, is that tomorrow?
That is tomorrow, yes.
Okay. And so is the UCLA...
Murray State.
Murray State. Have you got a team you want for this?
I mean, hard to root against anybody other than Murray State. I mean, root for anybody other than Murray State.
I'm with you.
They're the underdog story. They're having a Cinderella run. Got to root for the Racers, right?
I'm with you. I love the story. I love the coach. I love his little kid. I just think it's a fabulous story. So I'm all the way with you on that. So we're all over the place with golf day. I mentioned Munsey's going to be out there looking at the press conference at Southwind. We're monitoring here what is going on at Oakmont, where, of course, is actually fairly benign today, overcast skies and everything else. But this weekend, I don't know. I'm supposed to play on Sunday for Father's Day. It's my gift to myself. Where do you think I'm going? I'm going to Miramichi. That's where I'm going, if it doesn't get rained out. But Miramichi, it does hold water pretty well for the most part. I've noticed that a lot better than some of the golf courses. And I love to say that Miramichi, part of the reason I love it so much is it's just so beautiful. It's so competitive. You can play back to 7,000 yards. They got NCAA tournaments there. They got the Bubba Conley, the amateur national tournament that's played there every year. But you can move up tee boxes like I have now that I've gotten older. And it's more fun, but it's still a challenge, and it's always beautiful. The back nine in particular is like a walk through the woods with hills and a stream and a waterfall. It's just a tremendous experience. Thursday, you get the best rate. Now it's open on Mondays. They got the best practice facilities. Here's the best part. People don't quite get this. It's not in Millington. It's in Woodstock. It's literally less than 25 minutes from my driveway in East Memphis. It's that close. And it's that great golf experience. Great clubhouse, great people, excellent food. Go check it out. Tell them we sent you. You're going to love the experience. It's a total golf experience at Miramichi. We take a quick timeout. When we come back to Chicago, we go. We talk NBA with our agent from Priority Sports, who happens to also be Zach Edey's agent. We'll get an update on Zach Edey here in a minute from Andy Schiffman. He comes your way next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Getting engaged is one of life's most spectacular occasions. And when you find your ring at Sissy's Log Cabin, the promise of a lifetime begins with our promise to always provide unmatched quality, superior service, and brilliant natural diamonds. Find your dream engagement ring, wedding bands, and more when you shop Sissy'sLogCabin.com or stop by any of our 7 locations. Begin the rest of your life in brilliant, only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry. For a lot of us, saving up a down payment can be the biggest barrier to buying a home. So Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with One Plus. Because everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
It's time for fun, family, and fabulous prizes at the June 15th through 21st. Golfers can win cash and prizes every night, along with the chance to win $25,000 toward a City Auto vehicle purchase select nights. Then a chance to win $1 million the final night. Plus, there are cornhole tournaments every night with cash and prizes. Friday and Saturday nights, there are kids' carnival rides and 2 to 4 Saturday children's golf. So golfers, grab your clubs. Cornholers, practice your aim. Families, bring the kids. Memphis, there's something for everyone. You're invited to the biggest party of the year at St. Louis Church, 203 South White Station Road. The 67th Annual St. Louis Hole-in-One Charity Festival, Sunday through Saturday, June 15th through the 21st. Fun, family, and fabulous prizes all week as you help raise funds supporting youth programs at St. Louis Church.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. On WCBC Church, downtown Memphis.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Jordan Spieth just birdied a hole. He was at 5 over. He's at 4 over. I think, because 5 over now is 70. So usually it's top 60 in ties. So that, I believe 5 over will be the cut, at least at the moment. Remember we were talking about James Nicklaus, the kid from Yale, who was 100 start today? Tough day. 8 over through 7 today, 7 over for the tournament, so he would not make the cut. 8 over through 7 holes today. This is what Oakmont can do to you if you're not careful. We go to Chicago, and our good friend Andy Schiffman from Priority Sports, our agent who knows it all, joins us. I got to start with this. We're going to get into the finals for sure. But we all know Zach Edey is your client. Zach Edey apparently hurt his ankle again, like the third time he has had surgery. Can you give us a little breakdown of what's going on, what went into the decision, how long you think he'll really and truly be out? Good morning, Andy.
Morning, Dave. Yeah, as much as I can speak on it, if this is the right move for Zach, he kind of re-sprained the ankle that he had some trouble with during the season, working out recently in the off season. And obviously the choice is, well, let's continue to just treat it non-surgically and hope it heals on its own, and then run the risk of this happening yet again, whether it's in summer league or in training camp. And then if this happens another time and you're looking at surgery, he would for sure be missing a large portion of the next 25-26 season. So we worked in collaboration with Zach and the front office and the Grizzlies and their great training staff. And, it was the right decision to address this, really just strengthen and stabilize, I guess is the better term, his ligaments. So hopefully this same ankle sprain does not happen and this will permanently fix it. It's hard to say. I think in terms of when he will be back on the court, look, every patient is different, right? I don't think there's a black and white answer as to when he will be back just yet. Obviously, he just had surgery last week. We're hopeful that he won't have to miss too much of the start of the season. I think he'll miss preseason. Beyond that, part of November, does this go into December? It's really just TBD and see how he recovers. But in the long run, this is for sure the right move.
You know any other players that have had this procedure, which I guess is what you So an ankle sprain, if I'm correct, is really a slight tear of ligaments
Yep.
around the ankle. Does this bring in new ligaments that they've taken from cadavers or something, or is this just somehow strengthening and tightening the ligaments you already have around your ankle? I mean, what is the procedure? Who else has had it done?
Well, first off, you probably got to loop in the doctor who performed the surgery to answer that question. I'm not exactly sure of the complexities of that. One of my partners kind of was more in direct conversation with the actual surgeon. But I know Steph Curry had something similar years ago. I think earlier in his career, he had basically it's an ankle stabilization surgery where if you continue to sprain your ankle over and over and you just think about it logically, it continues to get weaker and weaker. That's why it is continuing to be, compromised and sprain and tear, et cetera. So if you can restabilize it, let's say, procedurally, I'm not exactly sure what is used, then this would theoretically permanently fix this issue. Not to say that he couldn't re-sprain his ankle in any other way or a different part of his ankle, but for this specific purpose, hopefully re-spraining it will be a non-issue moving forward. So I know Steph Curry had something similar, like I mentioned, years and years ago, and I believe it was a while ago. So you think about the technology now. I think his was maybe in 2011 or 2011, 2012. Fast forward 12, 13 years, I'd like to think that Zach's recovery time will be that much more expedited.
I hope so. I'm you say November. I mean, if he's back by December 1st playing, and maybe because it takes a few weeks, maybe by January 1st he's in top form, or by Christmas, if they're in a Christmas game, he's in top form. That would be pretty good. Now, it'll be interesting to see what the Grizzlies do with picks 48 and 56 to see if they don't try to get a big guy just as a short-term remedy for those issues. Now, Brandon Clark's going to be pretty important, too, in all this. Another Priority Sports client. Mm-hmm. What is his status right now?
Yeah, look, BC's feeling great. I think this is a huge off season for him. He's actually over in Japan. I don't know if he's back just yet, but he's been over there living it up. And so he feels great. Looking forward to getting him back on the court. And obviously, like you mentioned, right, there's going to be a need for big men. And I classify Brandon as a big man, even though he's definitely more of a small ball five. But to your point, these 2 second-round picks the Grizzlies have, 48 and 56, I'd say, yeah, in the short term, they're probably more valuable now. I mean, you really can't package those 2 picks to move up significantly in the draft because no one's clamoring for late second-round picks in the draft when realistically those are two-way / Exhibit 10 or drafted stash sort of profiles that teams select in that part of the draft. But I do think that maybe Zach can be a little more creative now and say, okay, let's go out there and try and offer a two-way to a serviceable, legitimate big man, or maybe they look in summer league at signing a big on a short-term deal. It's like a 1-year minimum or a partial guarantee, or even all the way down to a two-way, someone that they can rely on to just fill the gap, as you said, while Zach is out to start the season. So I think for sure the roster will definitely look different 4 months from now than it will today. I think they're going to be very active in the trade market, and now you just have to be that much more keyed in on adding another big man, whether it's someone that's more sustainable for the full course of the season or just kind of a stopgap in the short term.
You got any big guys that might be available that come in that second round?
Oh, trust me, we do. We've been making sure the Grizzlies are aware, and realistically, we cannot communicate on our free agents with these teams until we get to that June 30th start of free agency. But yes, we do. So I would love to have another big in the Grizzlies uniform. And I may actually have a guy in summer league with the Grizzlies who's injured right now, a big man from Australia who's a really talented player, plays for the Australian national team. But it's unfortunate because he hurt his wrist. So he may not be available for much of summer league, but maybe we'll see him at the back end in Vegas.
Huh. All right. Well, we'll keep that in mind as time goes on. A lot of rumors about trades, particularly Kevin Durant. Do you think before next Wednesday's draft that we will see a bunch of trades?
It's hard to say before, Dave, but I do think on draft night we will. A couple weeks from now, not quite next week. I think there will be.
Wait. What's the date of the draft? I was thinking it was next Wednesday.
Yeah, it's 2 Wednesdays. What is that,
Wednesdays.
June 25th, 26th, okay. I believe.
Okay.
So a couple more weeks. I don't necessarily know we'll see KD moved prior to that, but I think, look, there's going to be a lot of movement because you have teams like Oklahoma City with 3 draft picks, and they don't have right now 3 open roster spots. They're not really focused on the draft because obviously they're in the NBA Finals. You have Brooklyn with 5 picks, 4 first-rounders. Realistically, do they have room to keep 4 first-round picks? Probably not. So with that being said, there will be teams. I could foresee a team like the Lakers trying to move up and get a second-round pick. I don't know if they have the ammo to move up into the first round. I could see a team like Denver that doesn't have a pick right now, Dave, trying to acquire one of those picks from Brooklyn because we all know Denver has a lot of questions to answer this offseason. They fell short of where they should be in the playoffs, brand new coach, et cetera. So I think a team like Denver could be active in trying to acquire a first-round pick. I think there will be a lot of movement in the first round of the draft. And with these picks changing hands, also connected to that, to your point, will be veteran players. And so I think I would say there's as good a chance as any for a guy like Durant to be moved on draft night. Is it likely? Hard to say. But I don't think he starts the season in a Phoenix Suns jersey come November, whatever the case, or October rather. And I also think Boston could be very active in the trade market. I think they could potentially move a Derek White. Do they even consider looking at moving Jaylen Brown? I know they have a lot of suitors after Peyton Pritchard. I don't know if they move him. They've got some questions to answer as well. Obviously, they're going to start the season without Jason Tatum, potentially losing him for the entirety of the season. So they're going to have to address their roster through trades.
Do you think this is a good draft?
It's all relative, right?
Right.
I think the top, let's call it the top 10. I think the top 10, every team has, relatively speaking, the same players, but the order varies based on positional need for each team, right? Mm-hmm. But I think if you look at those top guys in the draft, that's a pretty strong class. Obviously, Cooper Flagg is leading the charge there, but then you've got Dylan Harper, you've got Ace Bailey, you've got DJ Edgecombe, we have Colin Knipple, who we're hoping to be a top 6, 7, 8 pick out of Duke as well. I think a lot of those players will be high-level starters in the NBA in the future and potentially multiple all-stars. I think Cooper obviously is a franchise-changing player like we've seen in the likes of Ja, Zion, Victor in those drafts. But I think outside of Cooper, you do have a lot of top-heavy talent that you didn't see in last year's draft class. And then as you move your way towards these players that are in this bucket of being picked late teens into the 20s, into the 30s, I think you could see surprises. I think you could see players that a lot of teams don't have ranked in the top 30 move into the top 30. Here's the thing, Dave. A lot of these players I'm talking about right now, and there's a slew of them, right? There's a plethora of them. They were helped by NIL because the attraction of NIL brought back a lot of fringe first-round players to school now. Because if you don't have an assurance of being a top 30 or even a top 35 pick in the NBA draft, getting multiple years of guaranteed income, you have close to, if not more, depending on the school you're going to and the deal you worked out with your collective in your school, 7 figures to go back to.
Right. Yeah.
And I always tell players, like, why would you leave college and you leave that to roll the dice and maybe you end up on a two-way, which you can go make $600,000 before taxes, but you could also double, potentially even triple or more than that back at college, starting.
I think you can make $2 to $4 million now if you're a top-notch player. And
it's only going to continue to increase.
Yeah.
Despite the revenue sharing, I think teams. I mean, you saw what BYU's doing. They got AJ DeBansta, who's earmarked as the number 1 overall pick next year.
Right.
And I think the number is inflated, but he's definitely making over $5 million.
Well, look what Cooper Flagg made last year. It came out at $28 million. $28 million. I mean, he won't be able to make that in the NBA until, 5 years?
Well, collectively, that first, assuming he's number 1 pick, he's going to probably make over $30 million, $40 million just off the first 4 years. But in 1 year, to your point, absolutely, you're correct.
Yeah, I mean, it's bizarre, crazy stuff. Like Tom Thibodeau's firing. Can you explain that to me?
Look, as much as I can share, because I do have players on the Knicks, it is a head-scratcher from the outside looking in, right? Because you've got a coach that was right there, 2 games away from making it to the NBA Finals, and then he gets fired, right? I think, though, the Knicks are the Knicks, right? This isn't a Charlotte Hornets. This isn't Houston Rockets. Like, all eyes are always on New York, and so they probably aren't going to stand for anything less than a finals appearance, especially kind of given the last couple of years when they kept falling short. And I think more than anything, Dave, as much as I can share, he's not a player's coach. The players really weren't on the same page as Tibbs. And he plays an 8-man rotation. Guys don't like that. Even the stars, they're just getting their bodies broken down throughout the season because of the wear and tear of playing an 82-game season plus playing well into April and May and beginning of June in some cases when you got your superstars playing close to 35, 40 minutes in some cases a night. And then you've got players that you invest in, young players on the end of your roster that are just getting no development because Tibbs refuses to play rookies and sometimes even guys going into their second year. He's just so stuck in his 8-man rotation. He's the most stubborn coach in the NBA, or he was rather. And I think the players voice their opinion to the front office. I also think that there are a lot of times where Tibbs, again, just kind of that stubbornness, did not adjust, did not work on certain situations that could have helped them in games. And I know that firsthand from conversations I've had where they probably could have come out and beat a Pacers team in a couple of games in that series had they adjusted, had they worked on certain things from game to game. That didn't happen. And you look at what Rick Carlisle is doing right now. Like Rick Carlisle is the MVP of the finals.
He's great.
The adjustments he's making from game to game, keeping an open mind, changing rotations, changing sub patterns, defensive schemes, and you can say the same for Mark Daigneault as well. He's definitely changed a lot too. But look, right now we're talking about the Pacers being up 2-1
right,
with a chance to go up 3-1 tonight at home.
All right,
I think Carlisle's done a masterful job.
Absolutely. I think he's maybe the most underrated coach in the NBA. Look, he's already won a title with Dallas, so we know how good he is. Let's, real quick, I only got 2 minutes. Tell me what you think happens. And we're not talking next week, so give me what you think happens in this finals. Indianapolis has won the last 2 games. This is a pivotal home game for them tonight in Game 4.
It absolutely is, Dave. I was there Wednesday night, and the atmosphere was unlike anything I've ever experienced. And even with that atmosphere on their home court in Indianapolis, going into that game, I thought OKC was going to win. And even as the game played out, and it was pretty neck and neck up until the last few minutes, I still thought OKC was going to find a way to win. But they just ran out of gas. They missed free throws. Indiana's defense was exceptional. I think Indiana wins again tonight. I really do. And it's a must-win for OKC, 1,000%. But I just think Indiana has too much momentum. I think defensively they've been elite. I think Indiana now has an answer to the 2 big lineup that OKC's been starting with Hartenstein and Holmgren. I think they did a great job on some of the shooters OKC has. They really neutralized Caruso. But then on the offensive side, we have TJ McConnell. That's one of my guys who had 5 steals in the game.
Love him. Yeah.
Constant energy. And I tell him all the time, whenever he gets in his own head and just worries that he's not doing enough to help his team win, I say there's no other player in the NBA that can come in off the bench and have an immediate positive impact on winning on both sides of the ball. I mean, I think I saw something where he didn't even score any points when he came in the game, but just completely changed the pace and dynamic of the game. And then you talk about the emergence of Benedict Mathurin, how consistent he's been in this playoffs, which has been pretty fun to watch. You've got Aaron Nesmith isn't really going to have a quiet night most nights like he has the other night, like he had the other night on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think he's due for a big game. And I think now the Pacers, they're confident that even if Tyrese isn't going for 30 points, they can still find a way to win.
I will tell you this. I think you named Mathurin is unbelievable the way he's progressed, and obviously Halliburton. What to me was the difference in that game was Toppin and Turner shutting down.
Miles Turner was great.
Shutting down Holmgren and Hartenstein in the fourth quarter. Holmgren was totally fatigued. My friend, we'll talk in 2 weeks. I always appreciate your insight. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
That is Andy Schiffman, our man on the NBA. As we sit in the Family Leisure Studio, a reminder, it's still pool time where you can get those above-ground pools, 24 feet for under $2,000. You can get the liners for under $3,000, all pool accessories, 20% off. If you mention you heard this here, installation of the pool is absolutely free. Patio furniture around your pool up to 50% off while pool time continues. Head to I-40 and Whidden Road, mention us, and cash in. It's pool time at Family Leisure. It'll be Munsey time from old TPC Southwind when we come back to Wolo and Friends in just a moment.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Sports events, Sports 56 and 95 FM.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Is your captain speaking to the passenger with your fastball shoe? Or who?
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Your fast works fast. Look out the horse size bag.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Closer, girl.
From the makers of Miralax, new Miralax soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Find Miralax today at your local retailer. It's directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofing.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofing.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofing.com.
Fiveash Roofing. It's what we do. We're here for you.
We're heading to Southwind. Jason Munz to talk a little golf and also Tiger basketball coming your way from the good folks at Southern Security. Need cash? You can refinance your auto loan with Southern Security. You'll have no payment for 60 days. Southern Security will finance up to 115% of the current value of your vehicle, and that's for up to 72 months. To find out how to put more cash in your pocket, you can call our member services team. That number is 452-7900. Actually, you'll talk to a person. Or you can go to the website, southernsecurity.org. Southern Security is a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and, of course, 901 Women, too. They're always doing good work. Southern Security is your home team credit union. Voted the best credit union in Memphis the last 6 years. There's a reason why. Best terms, best technology, best service. They're federally insured by NCUA. They are Southern Security. We are in the midst of trying to get a hold of our good friend. That would be Jason Munz, who I had a long discussion with today. So hope he's got service out at Southwind. They're talking about what they've done there and you realize that that course has been closed since basically Christmas, will not be opened until the tournament starts. So it's obviously going to be in unreal shape for that reason. And did have a little press conference started at 10 o'clock this morning to figure out exactly what they have done and how that will change the look of the course. So hopefully we will hook up with Jason Munz. In the meantime, JJ Spawn, he tees off in about an hour at 4 under. The best round of the day belongs to a guy who has been hot. He is at 3 under through 13. He is 5 under today, and that is Sam Burns. Wow. What a performance today. Lawrence from South Africa, 3 under. Siwoo Kim, 2 under. So most people going backwards with the exception. Hovland is under par today. He was at once at 4. He's at 2 under today. But the story is Sam Burns, at least at the moment. Our story for the moment now will be to go to Southwind. And Jason Munz does join us now. So what did they share with you this morning out at Southwind?
Well, so they're still sharing. I apologize for the delay, but yeah. So basically, I mean, this is something that we've known about for a long time. That TPC Southwind was going to be undergoing probably its most intensive like renovation / yeah. It was basically just a renovation, and
since they redid the course.
Yeah, and so that's what they're out here showing us today, is just how much work has been done, how much work is still left to do. There's 53 days until the FedEx St. Jude championship, and they're not ready. Like that's the thing.
Well, what does it look like to your naked eye?
Well, so it like the tee boxes and the greens have been completely resurfaced and rebuilt. There are some minor differences that that like have resulted in changes. I think they said that the course overall plays about 34 yards longer than it had. So like that's, over the course of 18 holes, that's not really
nothing.
That's not really a huge.
That's less than 2 yards a hole.
Yeah, exactly. So, in terms of major drastic changes, there really are none. But they've resurfaced the greens and the tee boxes just because they were getting a little bit spongy. It had been a long time since they had done that, and so they're going to be a lot firmer. But again, really, this was more for the players than it was for anybody else. Like the PGA players, it was just time. It was time to make a significant investment. It wasn't that the course was, like not to anyone's liking. It was just getting older, and so yeah, like that's it's not going to be. There's not all the stuff that the fans have come to expect and appreciate and all that stuff. Like that's going to be the same. They didn't redesign really anything. It's not like they've moved bunkers or any more than they normally do from year to year. But I will say the cart path on one has been rerouted. That's so far on this tour. That's
interesting. Where would they reroute that?
Behind, so it runs like they moved it back. They sort of like it goes behind the tee box now.
I see.
Yeah, it goes behind the tee, between the hill and the tee box on one.
Huh. So you have to drive. So you basically, instead of cutting through it to go to the more member boxes, you have to go all the way around the back tee now. I got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and so they did, and they also redid the putting green surface and the chipping greens. They did some significant updates and changes to those. But those are for members and players. Those aren't for spectators.
All right, let's get back down to earth on what we normally talk about, and that would be the Memphis Tigers basketball team. Since we spoke last, We saw Felipe Patino decide to leave, and we saw Utah State. Oddly enough, that is a Pac-12 team, by the way, a new Pac-12 team after this next year. On the schedule, I guess, for a home and home that will begin in Utah. Give me your thoughts on both those events.
Valentine's Day in Logan, Utah. Wolo, are you ready for that next year?
Are you going to be my sweetheart?
I am expecting that I will be there right with you. I've never been to Utah, much less been there in the middle of February. So I hope that travel is, you know how I like to press my luck on travel.
Yeah. I wouldn't do that this time.
You wouldn't advise that. It's a home and home, and it starts in at Utah State this coming season, and then it will shift to FedEx Forum the following season. But both games are going to be played that's the thing is it's not a home and home with Utah State. It's the fact that they're playing them in the midst of conference play. There was a lot of talk about that this past season about how since the AAC doesn't really do much for Memphis's profile or its net rating or this is sort of a nod to that. Like, it breaks up the monotony of the conference season. It generates some conversation. It generates some attention. It generates some buzz among the fans. Like, it gives you something different to look forward to as opposed to, oh, well, what's next week? East Carolina and Tulsa, great. It's certainly not a Houston or a UConn by any stretch of the imagination.
Or Gonzaga, which, by the way, was the February slot that John Calipari had worked out for the Tigers. They used to play that game in February.
Yeah, so it's been a while since they've had a non-conference game after the new year, but they're doing that again, at least for the next two seasons, and I think that really will help. That's going to be a big, big help. And Utah State, like I said, they're not Houston or UConn, but they have been a reliably good quality mid-major team. So mid-major program. So I think that's a very nice thing that they've done.
So if I do my math right, there's like 4 home games still to be had. How do you think that is going to break down?
I think there's 4 home games that have not been announced yet. I expect that they will all be home games because right now the only home games that we know about are New Orleans, a bye game against New Orleans, and then the return games of the home and home for San Francisco and UNLV. Those are the only ones we know about right now. So I expect these last 4 to all be home games, and I have a suspicion that they will be split between bye games and home and homes against power conference.
You want to take a crack at guessing who the 2 power may be?
I feel pretty good. I've mentioned this before. I wrote it a couple of weeks ago. I feel pretty good that one of them is going to be likely to be Baylor. I'm sticking with that one. The other one, I don't think it's going to be necessarily like a Utah State. I think it's going to be, higher profile than that.
Wow.
I expect it to be a power conference team, but just not sure which one yet.
Okay. How about the 2 bye games? Any inkling on that?
But I mean, realistically, I know Memphis didn't play Alabama State this past season, but I would be surprised.
I was thinking that too because that would be Madlock, right?
It would be Madlock. It would be a team that won a game in the NCAA tournament for the first time in its history. So it'd be a nice thing to get them back on the schedule. And then the other one, who knows? It could be I don't know. It'll be a bye game. I don't know
and we do know it's pretty sure. I think that Arkansas is going to be a exhibition game here. You think they'll do a neutral like they did last year with Alabama and Huntsville?
I fully expect that. Yes, I fully expect there to be a second preseason exhibition game that will be at FedEx Forum against a high-profile opponent. Yes.
Okay. Very good. What about Felipe?
Oh, yeah. He was a junior college transfer who shot like 48% or something from three.
Amazing, right?
Yeah, I mean, like he can really shoot it, but there just wasn't there wasn't the room necessarily for him. Like, Penny's brought in a lot of guards and a lot of wings. And I just think that, they're just, and the other thing is there's one guy on the roster listed, taller than 6'8". So he's got some needs.
He's got to get bigs. He's got to get bigs. So what's the plan if Danger doesn't make? Now that would be if Danger's on this team, we got a good team. If he's not, he's got to have a plan B, doesn't he?
To me, Penny has earned the benefit of the doubt over the course of the however long he's been the coach now. He's going into his 8th season, but he has done every time you think it's like, oh, this is starting to make me nervous a little bit. He always comes through. And now, does it always work out in the end? No, not necessarily. I mean, we saw what happened with the Jordan Brown, Jaquan Walton, Javon Quinterly, David Jones season. It doesn't always work out, but he does always come through. He has always come through. So, yes, you would have to think that even though summer workouts have already begun, and he's only got one guy on the roster who's listed as taller than 6'8", you have to think that with 3 open scholarships, of course, there is the Danger thing that they're still waiting on. As of last check yesterday afternoon, they have not gotten a final ruling from the NCAA yet, so they're still waiting on that, still hopeful on that. But yes, if that doesn't work out, you have to assume that they have a backup plan.
Now, Frank, go back to your press conference, learn more about TPC Southwind. We're not talking next week. We'll talk again in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Wolo.
That is Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal on the Tigers. And that's going to do it for us for this week. We'll be back Monday. We've got medals that we will give. We've got TJ Reeves and his take on all things concerning the world of sports, including the U.S. Open. And then we'll do our final breakdown of the U.S. Open with Ted Butler. That's Monday. We hope you all have a great, and I hope you don't get washed out with Father's Day this coming Sunday. Have a good one, everybody.